Next week on Home and Away in the UK, Joe and Lacey's feud spills over into the surf club. It's been around 7 months since Lacey walked out, unable to cope with the deep family rift that followed the death of her mum, Christina. Lacey's sister Jo had been behind the wheel in the car accident that claimed Christina's life, but has no memory of what caused her to leave the road. Though the investigation cleared Jo of any wrongdoing, Lacey has long believed that David pulled strings with his police colleagues to protect his daughter. Lacey had no contact with her family for over 6 months until David happened to be posted to Yabby Creek Police Station as the new sergeant, with Jo soon following as they look to settle in the area. Lacey has made it clear that she wants no involvement with her dad or sister, and was ready to turn David away again when he turned up at the surf club last week. However, she was thrown when he handed her a suitcase of her belongings, telling her they were the last of her things remaining in the old house before he sold it. Going through her belongings that evening stirred up lots of emotions for Lacey, and spurred on by Theo, she arranged to meet up with David the following day. Struggling to understand how he could let go of the house, Lacey listened as David admitted that living there without Christina had simply become unbearable. It seemed for a moment that the two could be starting to heal their fractured relationship, until a slip-up from David saw him recall a special memory of going to buy Lacey her ballet shoes. Lacey was quick to point out that was Joe, not her, and the two were back to square one. Next week, Theo lands himself in hot water when Lacey catches him chatting with her dad. Wanting to help, Theo explains to David how shaken Lacey had been after receiving the suitcase and learning that the family home had been sold, but Lacey sees it as a betrayal and feels he's taking David's side. Later, David shares a drink with Justin at Salt, where the two commiserate over the difficulties of raising teenage daughters. Heading downstairs afterwards, David manages to persuade Lacey to talk for a moment, though his reason takes her by surprise. He tells her he only wants her bank details, he wants her to have a share of the house sale. Lacey is taken aback, but then flatly refuses, making it clear she won't accept a thing from him. David desperately wants Lacey to have the money to help secure her future, and when Theo asks how much he's talking, David reveals that it's $100,000. Lacey's taken aback and walks out. Theo promises David that he'll talk to her and follows, urging her to think again. Theo reminds Lacey that the money is partly her mum's, it was her house too and she would have wanted her to be provided for. Spurred on, Lacey asks to talk with David again the next morning, pressing him to confirm whether Jo is being given the same amount. When David reveals that she is, Lacey is incensed, unwilling to accept her sister being rewarded in the same way after killing her mother. David is left downhearted. If she won't take the money, he asks, then what will it take for them to finally fix things? Lacey makes it clear to David that money isn't what she wants from him. What she longs for is a way to remember her mum, and she tells him the best thing he could do is to hand over Christina's eternity ring. Lacey and Jo had been the ones to pick the ring out for their mum when she and David renewed their wedding vows. But David has a big problem. Jo is already in possession of it, carrying it on her necklace. When David raises the subject of the ring with Jo, asking if she might consider passing it on to her sister, Jo is instantly on edge. Triggered by what the ring represents, she flatly refuses to part with it. On her way home, painful thoughts of the accident overwhelm her and she suffers another panic attack. Later, once she's calmed, Jo crosses paths with Lacey and wastes no time in making it clear, the eternity ring isn't going anywhere. Lacey is furious to learn that Jo has it, convinced that she doesn't deserve it. Their confrontation escalates quickly, with Theo forced to intervene, but the situation explodes when Lacey accuses Jo of killing their mother. Jo lashes out and strikes her sister. As the two start a full-on scrap in the middle of the surf club, Alf arrives just in time to break it up. Forcing them both upstairs, Alf calls David, who arrives to pull his daughters into line. Sitting down with the pair, he explains they are going nowhere until they sort this out.